So he is going to bring an angle of this message that none of the rest of us can because he's him. And I want us to understand this. We used to have the opportunity to speak about it frequently, but honor is an individual deposit that you make in a person. Every human being made in Christ's image carries a unique expression of Christ. So the Bible says that if you honor a prophet in the name of the prophet, you receive a prophet's reward. That means the moment somebody else steps behind this pulpit, you get an opportunity at a new and different impartation. There's no such thing as, I should say this, identities are like fingerprints in the New Testament. There's no two that are the same. So when you honor Dr. Ricky, you get Dr. Ricky's impartation, which is fantastic. So I was referred to him as a patient. And when I got there, he was saying a lot of medical things that sounded like spiritual things. And he was confirming our entire message of life and increase. As a matter of fact, one of the first things that he said, it's like, what are you doing for it now? I'm like, oh, I just had a consultation with a surgeon and da-da-da. And he said, if it doesn't make you more beautiful, then it's not the treatment that God intended. So I've reaped one heck of a harvest by having this guy as my doctor. And there was a night about a year ago, I was teaching the academy, and I was so worn out that he remembers I went over there and I literally took a knee and I cracked open a Celsius because it was the only way I was gonna survive the third session. And he said, Tommy, if you don't take a break, your body's about to make you. And then he has helped walk Shanda and I through all of these things ever since. So he's not only one of our best friends, he's not only one of our most trusted ministers, he's also our doctor. And he's a remarkable guy with a remarkable gift. So let's give it up for Dr. Ricky Miller.
Love you. What an introduction. It was a long journey to get to this place. And Tommy spoke so much truth with that. Sacred biology is something different, something more. Many of us have been in church our whole life. Some of us have been into health, fitness, whatever, for our whole life. And there is a missing piece called sacred biology. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. I have a group that I hang out with, Unblinded. It's a business group. It's full of amazing people. Like when I walk in the room, there's neurosurgeons and billionaires and all these people. I'm like, wow, I am the dumbest, brokest guy in this room. And we listen to Sean Callaghy, and he'll always wake us up with a disruption, right? He'll say, I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to say, I know, I do, right? Because you're going to hear something and you're going to dismiss it. And so when Tommy says, or when I say sacred biology, it's very easy to say, I know God thinks I'm special. God loves me. My body is special because he made it, right? That's I know, I do. But don't miss this. Our example of sacred biology is Jesus. And as much as I wish I could do the touch and heal, I have to work a lot harder to make a healing happen than Jesus did. I don't have it mastered. And there's a lot of other things that we don't have mastered. I don't have my walk on water. Not yet. But it's in the process, right? I don't have my healing touch yet perfected. I don't cast out demons. I don't resurrect from the dead yet, right? But this is to wake us up to realize sacred biology is not just being special in God's eyes. It's Jesus. So, who am I? I am Dr. Ricky Miller. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. My background is psychology. So, what I do is I treat the things that show up in your body that came from your heart, came from your beliefs, and I absolutely love it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Before that, I was a fireman. And so my interaction with biology and the sacredness of biology started a long time ago, right? Because when you're a fireman, sometimes people live in your arms because of your hands, right? Sometimes they die in your arms, right? Biology is a real part of life, right? And then even more so when I went to school, chiropractic school is amazing. Amazing. We did head to toe dissections, right? And even in the scientific way, there's something reverent and sacred about biology, right? And I can remember the first time in New York, I was in school, we walked into this room and there are a dozen bodies. We think of them as bodies and we gown them, but they're people. And they're sacred and you can feel it. And when it's your time to get the scalpel, right? And see where this nerve goes, right? And open up the body, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming with awe. Like, that's what it's like. I can tell you, it's really like that. Like all the things in the books, like all the body parts and everything, it's all in there, right? Totally overwhelming. Thank God for Kayla. She was the smart one in the group, and she's the reason that I get to stand here today, because it was too much. It was too much. And so there's all this sacredness to pull from. There's how amazing your body is. There's life and death. There's all these parts of sacred biology, and it's my job to give you the perspective from the body. Tommy talks oftentimes about what our identity is, who we are as sons, right? And what the revelation tells him in the spirit. I'm going to teach you from the perspective of your body, why you're sacred and who you are. And my job is not to tell you. My job is to make you feel it, right? Feel it in your body. That's where it belongs. It doesn't belong just here. It belongs here, right? With that, I do want to thank Tommy for sacred biology, for the work he's put in. This is not easily done. It's really, really not easily done. When you know something and you want to communicate it, it's tough to communicate it. So, Tommy, thank you for the dedication to this, because I've been looking for this my whole life. My whole life, in terms of healing and in terms of my own self, right? I used to, before Legacy, I would go to Mass at 8, and I would go to evangelical church at 10, and I would cry at both. I would cry at both. I was so broken, so lost. But I knew something was up with Mass, right? Because I wanted the embodiment of Christ in my body. So I had to get it. And the homilies are usually meh. No offense to anybody, but they're usually meh. And the worship is meh. So I would go and I was searching and searching and searching and searching. And here we are today. And so my challenge is to make sacred biology true in your body. How am I going to do that? And I thought of every case I could think of, every person that was saved on the fire department, or every person that's been healed in the office, or any miracle thing that I could explain to you about how your body works. And it just came back to one thing. When I was a fireman, part of your scope of practice is, should you go to a house where a baby needs to be delivered, you're it. So we trained up for that, and that was in my orders. And when it was time for my son to be born, I had joked around with Dr. Honora, like, hey, Doc, I'm gonna save you some effort. I got this. And Dr. Honora is a legend. Okay, so he was the OB instructor at Neo-UCOM, that's our local medical school. He's amazing. For Gracie, when she was born, her beautiful head was too big, right? And she was stuck, and so her mom was just pushing away, and we were hours and hours into this, and maybe some people can relate, right? And it was a little bit scary. The room was a little bit dark, right? That's a lot of pressure on a baby's head. And then in comes Dr. Honora, right? The room spins up, the energy goes up, and Dr. Honora just very calmly walks over, checks things out. He gets these two metal forceps, right? Links them together. Boop. There's Gracie Bear. Born, no problem. Next time, Dr. Honora with Hopi. Hopi was breech. That means butt first, right? That's a problem. Dr. Honora comes in, works things out a little bit. Whoop, 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 whoop. Flips her, right? Dr. Honora is a pro. So when it comes time for Mickey, Dr. Honora says, he's from Kenya. He says, Nurse, put a gown on Mr. Miller. And I was like, oh, yeah, come on. So they do the whole thing, and, sterilizing, my heart's racing. He stops me and he says, Mr. Miller, don't drop the baby. Don't drop the baby. Okay, don't drop the baby, don't drop the baby. So here I stand at the peak of this amazing experience. My heart is racing, my adrenaline is pumping, and I'm starting to tremble with energy because it's so real. This is the part that I want to bring you into that is sacred biology. Okay? So, what we see is this outside, this nice baby bump, right? But we want to look at what's on the inside and what happens with that baby bump, right? So now, if you will, let your mind be clear of distraction. Put yourself in this mindset. We're going to go through 7 epochs. Epoch is a very fancy way to say time period. Makes you sound smarter. Pick up words like that often. 7 epochs or time periods that will give us sacred biology. Okay, if you want to follow along, this is Genesis 1. In the beginning, the earth was without form and void. Darkness covered the face of the deep. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In the beginning, you were also darkness and void. And then suddenly life happened. 2 cells meet, and what happens is light results. When a sperm touches an egg, there's a cascade of calcium to zinc to light. I think we might even have a clip of that. Do we have a clip of light? This is what happens the very first thing, the very first second of life when you're born. That's it. That's it. The caption says, "Welcome." The very first thing that you are is light. That light is amazing. That light signals and tells those cells that they can now replicate, right? And that light also takes the cell and says, no more. This is the one. This is the one. And now that cell will replicate. Your first state is light. And that was the first day, and it was good. Day number 2, let there be an expanse between the waters. Like we talked about, now you're a cell and now you replicate. And now you are taking up space. You went from a light that's a wave to a particle that's a space, that's a thing that has form and you can touch. This fascinates me, the whole wave versus particle thing. It's a physics debate, right? But a few of the things that I understand from this is this gives us boundary, right? So if we're all wave, we mix, right? So if I take my flashlight and shine it like on the ceiling, and Jen takes her flashlight and shines it on the ceiling, you can't tell which light is from which flashlight. But particles, you can. Now there's a boundary, like a cell membrane, right? It's a boundary that says this inside is the cell, this outside is not. So that differentiates us from each other, and we know who's me and who's you, right? And that boundary is the beginning of organization. From nothing into organization. And it was the second day, and it was good. Day 3, let dry ground appear. Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place. And so from fluid, you began as 3 tissues, 3 sacred tissues, right? You've got a tissue that would become skin and nervous system. You've got a tissue that will become muscle and bone. You have a tissue that would become organs and breath, insides, right? And you started to emerge. And then God said, let the land produce vegetation, right? And from that vegetation comes vines that grow and plants that grow, just like you did, from a little cell, like a seed, to growing and forming. What happens in us specifically is that ectoderm becomes skin and nervous system. The mesoderm becomes your muscles and your bone. The endoderm becomes your guts, right? And those 3 layers start working together like a plant growing out of the ground. It was day 3 and it was good. Day 4, let there be lights to govern the day and the night. Let them mark seasons and days and years. This always confused me a little bit because we already had light, right? So what's the second light? Well, you and me inside the womb, what's happening in us is your neural tube is closing, right? Neurulation occurs around week 3, 4. Okay, and that's where your notochord, that's going to be your spinal cord, thickens into a plate. It folds into a central groove, and then it zips shut from middle to outsides. So what's the light? Well, there is a different light that occurs here because now, do you have a spine? Guess what you have? You have electricity surging through your body, and the sparks of nerves and electric are now firing up along that neural tube, sending signals. There are things happening. I don't know exactly what they are because I don't remember. But there's a lot happening because there are sparks of electricity all over, all through. And that's the 4th day. And it was good. Day 5. Let the waters teem with living creatures and let the birds fly above the earth. This is most people's favorite day. And I think we actually have video of this day in creation. Do we have that? Stuck in your head all day, all day. But this is day 5. This is where it gets exciting, and now there's dolphins and zebras and elephants, and Earth becomes alive, and we see it, and we watch shows about it, and David Attenborough talks about it, and it's beautiful and amazing and captivating. And guess what's happening to you? You're growing little arms and legs and fingers and toes and faces and boy parts and girl parts. All these amazing things are happening. And you start to take this beautiful shape, mysterious, beautiful shape. All these things that we don't understand are happening right in there. Day 5, beautiful. Your heart is beating. Your heart's been actually beating since day 22. You have rhythm. You have light, electric, firing all through you. It's day 5. It was good. And then day 6 comes. And God said, let us make man in our image. The only way that I can describe this is waiting for my son. I stood there with my heart racing. I was so nervous. And so I got ready, you know. Don't drop the baby, okay? Here we go. And all of a sudden, there's my son. And he was incredibly slippery. That is no joke. Don't drop the baby. Don't drop the baby. And I looked at him. I couldn't look away because it was the most amazing thing I had ever seen in my life. And I held him and I looked. And there were no words to say. And so I stood there, and in my heart, all I could hear was, close your eyes and have no fear. The monster's gone, he's on the run, and your daddy's here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy. And suddenly, out of time and space, I looked at that boy. And then it all made sense to me. This made sense to me. I looked at him, and it came to me, these words. This is Psalm 139, if you don't know this. I looked at him and heard from God in that connection. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be night to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light. You created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I'm still with you. And so at the same time, I was father and son. And I was in that moment, outside of everything, experiencing sacred biology. And then the doctor said, and now the placenta. I was like, right, yeah, right. So gave the baby, okay, placenta. Ooh. Oh, okay. No, good. Right, there's more to it. Whew. Oh. He was a good doctor. He was a good doctor. Day 6, and it was good. Day 7, God rested. This is where the story totally parts because nobody rests when you have a baby. It's just different. It's not good analogy anymore. But sacred biology was that moment of being father and son in the same place at the same time. That's who you are. That's who I am. We are sons of God, loved just like I love my son. There's nowhere he can go that I won't be with him. There's nothing I wouldn't do for him. To be father and son at the same time, that's sacred biology. Now, that did not clear everything up totally, that experience, right? But that experience was so that I could share it with you and know that even though I had that experience, I was still at Mass crying, right? I was at church crying, right? No wonder people didn't want to shake my hand. Like was Jeremiah, is that the weeping prophet? Yeah, I was Jeremiah. I was looking for truth, and I couldn't find it. And I was hurting. The search was tough, but I never quit. I never quit. And so from psychology, I learned a lot of good stuff. Good stuff that was really good as long as I was talking about it. And then as soon as I stopped talking about it, it was no longer good. It was gone, right? Great ideas that never made it into my body. But my body had something to say about it because my emotions were, right? I didn't know my value to my father, for sure. And so I thought, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get close to God by fighting MMA to get my frustration out. Then when I win, I'll tell people that God's great. Right? That was my plan. It wasn't a good plan because I'm way too nice. So Oh, well, you can't have everything. So then there's the search, right? What is going on with me? Why am I reacting this way? Why am I angry? Why am I sad? Why am I depressed? Why am I insecure? Why am I afraid to show myself to people? What is this? And so all my psychology training, that was my bachelor's, all my psychology training was cool, but it wasn't hitting. It wasn't happening for me. And so I had a switch. I had a switch. There's something amazing Tommy talked about last week. If you didn't hear last week, you got to hear it. You got to hear it. Okay? There's a lot of things in there for us to pull from. And I'm just going to highlight one, okay? This was our review as we were walking through. We talked about John 17, which is not pulling up here. Do we have John 17? Yes. It's good to have a good team. I do not pray for these alone, but also for those who will believe in me through their word, that they all may be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, that they also may be one in us, so that the world may believe that you sent me. And the glory which you gave me, I have given them, that they may be one, just as we are one. Those are Jesus. That's Jesus praying for you. That's Jesus praying for me. His plan is for us to be one, right? Deep inside, that's what I really wanted. It's really what I wanted. I wanted connection, love, peace, security, safety. I wanted all those things. Why don't I have those things? That's what Jesus wanted me to have. And so this journey took a cool turn. I started to learn a little bit more from psychology about what happens in our body through our mind. So there's a guy named Wilhelm Reich, who was a student of Sigmund Freud. Reich was either a madman or a genius, maybe both, right? Maybe both. But he right away started to notice that certain things you think affect things in your body. And so get this. He started this concept that people started to follow that was called armoring. If you think you've ever armored, raise your hand. I'm going to tell you why you have. Okay? Armor is what happens when something occurs and you are overwhelmed by it in your subconscious. Okay? And so your subconscious says, that's too much, too much. And so what it does is it takes that experience and it holds it in your subconscious with a physical tension. Okay? With something physical to keep it away from you. Now, it's still part of you. It's just held out there where you don't have to deal with it right now because it's a little bit overwhelming, right? These pieces of armor were stopping me from being able to connect because I was afraid, what if I get hurt? What if I get rejected? What if I'm taken advantage of, right? All those defenses. So I got the opportunity to go to a bioenergetic psychologist. So Wilhelm Reich had a student named Alexander Lowen. He started bioenergetic psychology, and this experience changed my life. And I would like to experience it all with you, if you don't mind, okay? So let me just get the introduction to bioenergetic psychology. The lady's name was Jane. I had to drive clear to Michigan to get to her, and she was awesome. I said, Jane, do you want to know why I'm coming? And she said, no, just wear shorts. And I was like, well, that's not very psychological, but okay. And I showed up, and Jane saw my subconscious through my body. If you've ever wondered what's going on in your subconscious, you can access it through your body. And that's what we're about to do right now. If you would please stand with me. This is what I was doing in Michigan, just standing. Not particularly fun, not particularly interesting, actually quite weird. Because I stood there and Jane started to walk around me, right? She looked me up and down, over here, over here, After a couple of I was like, okay, what's happening? Okay? And now this is what I want you to evaluate in yourself as you stand there, okay? You can close your eyes if you want to, or you can look at a fixed spot, but turn your energy from outward to inward. The first thing I want you to notice is, where is my breathing? Is my breath full? Is my breath shallow? Now, it's not going to take too long before some of you start to notice, I hurt. Standing up hurts. And what I want you to notice is where that pain is, what makes it better, what makes it worse. Because as you're analyzing your body, we can use that information to figure out what's going on in your subconscious. Do a quick scan from head to toe. Is your forehead tight? Your eyebrows? Your jaw? Is your neck tight? I could make a really good bet that the back of your neck is likely pretty tight. Keep scanning to your shoulders. Scan to your belly. Can you find your belly? Because you have one. You might not be connected to it, but you have one. You also have private parts. Disconnected if you don't feel them, but you have them. As we get down to the knees, you might notice some pain. Boy, my knees are hurting. And that's probably because your feet have taken a position that your body doesn't like. And so what you find is you will stand, move, and live in ways that hurt you. You're probably doing it all the time. Okay, take a deep breath. One more. Okay, shake it out. Shake it out a little bit. Move a little bit. All right, let's break this down. Okay? For me, when I was standing, the first thing Jane said was, wow, you're bracing. It's like, bracing? It's bracing. She's like, well, you're standing with your knees locked. It's like, everybody stands with their knees locked. She's like, no, they don't. And it's not even comfortable. Okay? And so the first thing I did that I'd like you to do, wiggle your toes just a little bit, soften your knees, tuck your tail under just a little bit, as if you were just about to sit on a bar stool, just beneath your buns. Okay? That feeling takes the pressure off of your knees. That feeling lets you breathe deep into your belly, right? And all of a sudden, you're no longer bracing. Okay, Jane, well, what's bracing? Bracing is when you have a body position that looks like you are holding something on your shoulders, but you're not. Okay, Jane. Okay, that was a good one. That was a good one. Gypsy stuff. Anybody could have got that, right? We're all stressed out, Jane. You got to do better than that. You got to do better than that, Jane. So Jane rose to the challenge. Go ahead and have a seat. I'm going to tell you what Jane did next. Jane said, okay. She took a mattress, put a mattress on the ground, and said, stand on this mattress. So I stood on this mattress. And Jane said, put your foot down. It's like, what do you mean, stomp? She's like, just put your foot down. I said, I can put my foot down, up, and then, whew, and my foot kissed that mattress like it was made of glass. And I was like, oh, well, hold on, I can. See, I can do it. She's like, I know, I saw, you saw too. And so Jane opened up my world to understanding that the armor that I was wearing was literally on my body, keeping me from my promise. My prayer from Jesus could not be received because I had armor to protect me that was supposed to keep the bad things out, but it also kept the good things out, and it kept me trapped. Boy, there's a lot we can go to from this. So many things about how we hold ourselves. One question this morning was, what do I do with my tongue? Right? Because last week we got a preview where it was like, hey, lower your shoulders, right? You don't need to wear these as earrings. What are you doing that for? Right? Loosen your Kegel muscles, right? That's a good way to put that, by the way. I always struggle with how to say. Right? There's all these things. How do I hold my jaw? Right? I always have jaw tension and it clicks when I chew. How am I supposed to hold this thing? Right? Well, in our subconscious, sometimes there's a thing in here that wants to get said here. And our body will clamp that right down because that is not a good thing to say. Right? Practice that enough, and pretty soon that jaw just isn't going to work the same. Right, so there's many examples like that, okay, in our body of things that are holding that shouldn't be holding. All right? If you're an OG here, you know we do the shake thing. I'm not going to make you do the shake thing like we did a long time ago to shake it all out. But that is the premise. The premise is that as long as I'm holding on to what my body is defending, I can't connect with the promise from Jesus, right? So to reorient our body is an internal process. It's really not that flashy. It's really not that gorgeous, right? It's not like, oh yeah, do CrossFit and then you'll be good to go, right? A lot of people work out, and if they don't work out, they're an absolute mess, and their working out is just increasing the armor that their body has built, right? So we have a unique opportunity here to take it inside and change things from the inside out to align our body the way that it should be, okay? This mechanism happens in our nervous system, okay? If you've heard this before, you're gonna hear it again. So we went through that creation. We've got brain, spinal cord, all these amazing nerves that God made, and they have an operating system, right? And the operating system is they'll either run from a bear or they'll sleep like a puppy, okay? That's how our body frames everything. Because we have so much energy that we can do all these amazing things, you just can't do both. And if you're gonna run away from a bear, your eyes are gonna look for a bear, right? Where's the bear? Where's the tree I can climb, right? But if your energy is going into that, right, that's called sympathetic drive, right? Run from a bear. Then we lose the energy for sleep like a puppy over here. Because whenever we do these activities, for example, eat lunch, I'm gonna turn cow into me. I don't know if everyone, that's pretty miraculous, right? Just by putting it in here, I turn Cal into me. A miracle, but it takes a lot of energy. And if your energy is running from a bear, then it's not turning Cal into you, right? And then guess what happens? Cal travels through you because it didn't get turned into you. And then your body doesn't like it. And then it bloats, and then you're sick, and your energy's low, and you feel awful, okay? So our transformation occurs in recognizing these states and then putting our body into the right state for what we're doing, okay? Now, this is the tough part because I don't know how well this landed, right? I don't know. But I am open to, if anybody has a question, to answering it, or if somebody wants to analyze, like their body, right? Does anybody want to do that, or does anybody have a question about what we said so far? The question is, what if you have armor, but you don't know why? Whew. Okay, so there's a little rabbit hole to this. It's not been proven in psychology yet that the experience that put the armor on has to be relived to take the armor off. Okay? Doesn't have to be. Thank God, right? This was the amazing miracle that I got to learn through Tommy. Is that it's not we have to relive every bad experience and comb through every bad thing that's ever happened to get it specifically. We just need to know who we are. Once we know who we actually are, everything falls in line. Right? So the fear that I had that I was not masculine, I was inadequate, I didn't make enough money, right? I was a bad dad. There's a million things that I could criticize myself with, right? All from experiences. Someone at some time, either with their actions or with their words, put that inside of me, and I carried it. And so in psychology, the goal is to go like retrace those steps. Okay, so tell me about your dad. He screwed you up, right? Tell me about your mom. She screwed you up somehow, right? Siblings, we'll figure it all out, Everybody screwed you up all kinds of ways. That's what's amazing about sacred biology is when you don't know where it came from, you don't have to because you know where you came from. So sometimes that does happen, right? So in my office, right, I'll work on somebody and sometimes we'll take off a piece of armor and there is a raw wound in there. And a memory floods back, and sometimes it's, what's going on? Oh, I can remember I had this ex-boyfriend, and he said this, and then he just left and never, and like, poof, the scab's off, like it's flowing. And that memory is right there at the surface, okay? When that happens, it's a good thing. It is, it's a good thing, because what we do is we transform armor into wisdom, okay? Because what happened previously is the armor protected us, right? And so that piece that protects me so that you don't hurt my feelings again, or you don't take advantage of me. All these things that hurt me so much to make a defense, right? When we see it from our proper perspective, we're no longer that emotion. All right, let's pick sadness, okay? So if I release something or something gets released in me and I'm sad, I just want to cry, I recognize I'm not sad, but I had sadness stored in me, right? It was in me, it was a part of me, and it was governing how I live. So now I take that sadness out here and I look at it. And I say, okay, sadness. Is this a memory? well, yeah, actually, this sadness is a rough one. This sadness reminds me of when my dog died. And I opened the door, and the dog ran out, hit by a car. So as a 6-year-old, I killed my dog. I'm completely overwhelmed by that. I don't want a dog. I'm afraid of dogs. I can't connect to a dog because it might die, because I might inadvertently kill my dog. I'm now separated from an amazing part of life. So I look at that piece and I say, okay, there's sadness. Sadness trapped. What I know now that I didn't know then, right, is that I have authority. I can train my dog. This is where you go. That's where you don't go. I can put up a fence, right? I can do all these things, right, that protect me from this experience, right? And that pain turns into learning that I get to teach. So if somebody else wants a dog, I could say, oh, yeah, you know what? Let me show you how to bury an invisible fence, whatever it is. Let me show you how to train this dog. And the lesson that I learn is now my defense. The lesson is my defense, not my armor that separates me from all of us. And I can teach it. I can teach that lesson now so that somebody else who is looking at the same issue has my guidance and has my wisdom as part of their defense too. Okay. Wow, time does fly, doesn't it? Okay. Bring it all full circle. Sacred biology is the second where you feel that you are father and son at the same time. One with God, one with us, with each other. In that, we can start to look for healing, resurrection, intimacy with God, one with God, and intimacy with each other. Now, the question is, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to look inside and say, oh, wow, you know, I sure do remember how bad that sucked when, because it's there. And that pattern is a problem for us. We can solve it together, and we have created the path, right? Don't miss this. Don't miss homecoming. And be in that intensive, because it's time. It's time. I carry a huge weight every time someone chooses death as their savior. Is it 22 a day? Military? So, the world is waiting on us. The world is waiting on us to do these things, process these things, connect with each other, connect with God, and to embody this truth. Now, I do have a little bit of time. So, as a finish, if you feel like you're trapped in your body, all right, what we can do today, we can just do a little prayer or a little touch, and I would be happy to pray for you, happy to connect with you in that way. But the goal is this. It's to decide that now is the time for your healing. Now is the time for your biology to go from dirty and separate to sacred and connecting. I do love you guys. I really do. Let's pray. Father, thank you for this time. Thank you for these words. And thank you for the opportunity to be the generation that lives like Jesus. That when people walk in the room, they recognize a bunch of Christ and they get treated like they would as if they were with Christ. Bring these truths into our body. Strengthen ourselves. Every one of them. Let healing start. Let truth form through. Let strength be our character. Facing things that are tough to face. From inside with each one of us. And then externally on the things that are the powers of this world. Lord, thank you again for this group and for this love that we get to experience. Amen. If you have anything that you would like prayed over or anything like that, pop up here. If not, let's just put on some music. You're dismissed. I hope you have a fantastic day.